Let's talk about the nuclear football and Mar-a-Lago. This past weekend, during I don't even know what number vacation this was for Donald Trump in the early weeks of the presidential administration, Trump was having dinner at his Florida mansion and club, Mar-a-Lago, with the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And while they were there, news broke that North Korea had just tested a ballistic missile. So instead of saying, oh, wow, this is an issue of national security, we need to get privacy, we need to have this discussion about a potential international crisis in a private space, Trump just stayed sitting there at the table in the middle of a crowded patio and had his aides come to him to discuss what was going on. Tons of pictures were made public about this. Here's a picture of a discussion going on. You'll see like a bright cell phone light there. And what was reportedly going on was aides were using their cell phone flashlights to further illuminate some of the sensitive documents that were relative to this discussion. This is a sort of like a my pet goat moment when George W. Bush on 9/11 was reading to students at an elementary school, obviously not to the same degree, but this type of public situation. And George W. Bush handled it way better than Donald Trump did. It's amazing how the Donald Trump presidency has had me praising George W. Bush more than once. Trump and his staff exchanging extremely sensitive and potentially classified information with one another in public. And Donald Trump endlessly slammed Hillary Clinton during the campaign for how she handled classified information carelessly. And look at what's going on. Now, the White House has now denied any of the documents were classified, but there's no denying that they were sensitive. Here's where it gets even nuttier. There is an Army officer with Donald Trump, with any president at all times, who carries what's called as the nuclear football. It's a briefcase, has the materials needed to launch a nuclear strike. During the dinner at Mar-a-Lago, the officer who does this was posing for pictures with random people, including one random dude who was just eating at Mar-a-Lago, a guy named Richard Diagazio. The Army officer told Diagazio who he was and that he's the guy carrying the nuclear launch technology in a briefcase, and Diagazio casually posted the pictures to his Facebook page, boasting about how he got to meet the guy who carries around the nuclear football. I can't even make sense of what's going on, Pat. And fortunately, an investigation has been launched into this. It's not just liberal hysteria over anything the Trump administration does. The House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform is saying we need proof that this entire debacle wasn't a security breach of sorts.
And remember, Donald Trump is the guy who criticized past administrations for being too open about their military and intelligence policy and that he would be more spontaneous.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be seeing much of that.
This is like Biff Tannen from the Back to the Future movies running the United States. Biff Tannen, a character played by actor Thomas F. Wilson. Does anybody feel safe with what's going on? Matters of national security being discussed in what's effectively a public place? Not literally, like it's a private club where you have to pay for a membership, but they're in an open patio and pictures are being taken. Trump's not taking the daily intelligence briefings. When he takes them, they're 3 to 5 bullet points and mostly pictures on a single page. I genuinely don't feel particularly safe right now in terms of the administration handling and being aware of all relevant information.
Well, according to some of the Back to the Future staff, the character Biff Tannen was actually inspired by Donald Trump. And
oh, is that true?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
To the greater point, we have a child in office, but yeah, it's an interesting tidbit there.
Absolutely disturbing. And by the way, the next thing I want to talk about, this is not the only investigation that's going on with the Donald Trump administration. Today's show is brought to you by GoDaddy, where you can buy your own domain name, build a website, or use any of GoDaddy's business tools. You can save 30% at trygodaddy.com/David. GoDaddy has actually been the official host of the David Pakman Show website for many, many, many years. The 24/7 customer support has been a very good thing for us. I've called them at really odd times when we've had website issues, and they are always available. They are the largest domain registrar, and whether you have a new idea, you're an established business, you're creating a personal website, or moving your large enterprise site over to GoDaddy, they can do it all. 13 million customers. Try it and get 30% off at trygodaddy.com/David.